So I'm so angry right now. I got to move on. But did I let that happen?
So I'm here warming up. There was like a tight spot right here. So this is like a cart, right? Like a red cart, I don't know, one of ours, right? There's a tight spot. It's probably like this. And our bench is over here. And I'm warming up, and I went to go throw, and somebody just tried to like squeeze through, I guess not to get close to our bench, which is, fine. I don't really care as long as it don't hit me. And he hit me, and my knee just kind of shifted in. Like I said, just twisted up on me, and we was able to lock it out before the game. But that's all it was.
JT downplaying it, saying that's all it was, but he also said in that press conference he will be ready for Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game. The opposite vibe, though, from JT is Urban calling for an investigation. He was emotionally attached to this interview. This injury, he was really upset here. As a coach, give me an idea what's going on the field before a big game like this.
But number one, as a coach, you're so focused on your team and the game plan, you have no idea what's going on around you. Secondly, those sidelines are crazy.
Yeah.
You got people showing up. It's like the rich uncle that when you finally get some money and you've never heard from him, he shows up. Well, that's the way the big game is because everybody wants on the sideline, everybody's a buddy, and everybody's got a favor. So what Urban just said that I heard was that we're cleaning up our sideline for that championship game. We got too many people over there. I don't know who they are. I'm going to somebody, and we're going to get it fixed. And then you start looking at protecting your players, and you don't want someone to have bumped into him, whether it was on purpose or not. And I don't think anybody would purposefully hurt a kid before a game. You're not going to take your camera and say, where's the quarterback of the opposing team? I'm going to go knock him out in front of 106,000 people.
Oh, no doubt.
TV audience.
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
And when you listen to Urban calling for an investigation, it almost seemed like he was insinuating that this was done on purpose. And so to hear Urban put it that way, to be so upset, then to come back and hear JT get up and have to demonstrate this in a press conference, but he almost seemed like it was an accident. I'm a little confused. Was it done on purpose?
Yeah.
Or was it an accident? Because two different tones from two different people. The head coach is so upset. The player is saying, yeah, I mean, I kind of understand. I wish he wouldn't have done it, but I kind of understand. Two different tones coming from the Ohio State camp. Somebody needs to address this, make it known. Either we think this was on purpose or we think this was an accident, because right now it's too much gray area out there. Michigan doesn't deserve that.
Well, and the head coach spends a lot of time with the sports information director.
Right.
What Urban will do is go to him and say, find out who this guy was and keep him off our sidelines. I don't want him around our kids. And that's what will probably happen more than anything else.
You know another tone after this game? Dominance. Ohio State in this series. They won 13 of 14, and Urban Meyer 6-0 against Michigan ever since he joined the Buckeyes. And you got to start scratching your head here. And after the game, emotions running high on the other side with the Wolverines.
I think the hardest part for me is just you come here to win this game, and our senior class wasn't able to do it. And, I hold myself responsible for a lot of that, and it sucks. I can't imagine a worse feeling right now.
The quarterback always gets the most coverage. When good things happen, everybody pats him on the back. When bad things happen, he gets crushed. Corn feeling that pressure there, letting the team down. They had the lead at one point, and when you see, you've been part of rivalries, when you see it's one-sided now into a decade, what's your reaction?
Well, number one, to keep your job, you got to beat your rival at least half of the time, and you got to beat everybody else you're supposed to. That's just part of it.
Spoken like a true coach here.
Well, and at one point, we had trouble with Oklahoma. They had a streak, and I asked Coach Royal, when do you stop the streak? How do you do it? And he said, when you're good enough and mad enough about it. And that's what has to happen. And so Michigan has got to keep doing what they've done. They've been in this game. They were in it today. They were in it last year down to an overtime play. So you just got to keep playing and get tired of hearing it, because Booger knows they will hear nothing but this Ohio State game for a full year.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think when you look at these two teams, very evenly matched, Jim Harbaugh has done an outstanding job of recruiting since he got to Michigan. But if you look at the tenure that Urban Meyer is 6-0 against the Wolverines, it's really simple. Ohio State has had the better quarterback just about every year. Michigan is really on their third quarterback. So we can talk about a lot of different things. If you want to beat your rival, get better players, specifically at the quarterback position, and that's Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's been a former quarterback. Jim Harbaugh took Colin Kaepernick and made an offense around him. So I don't want to hear excuses about, yeah, we don't have the right guy. You fit your offense around the guys that you have, or you go get better guys. To me, that's the one thing that you have to do. And to me, I think in the end, he's got to do that to be better.
Here's the difference, though. Michigan has been looking for a quarterback all season, and then Ohio State brings in their backup, and he's the
better
difference in this game.
Yeah, and he was a very highly recruited player out of D.C. that everybody knew Haskins was going to be really good. Michigan's got to find one of those. And Jim talks about his pro-style offense. Until you are really, really good at quarterback, you're not going to win all the games.
You know, but he talks about pro style. But let's go back to the 49ers. Colin Kaepernick is not a pro style quarterback.
He changed things up with Alex Smith.
He changed the entire offense up for this guy. So how come he can't do it for O'Korn or Spate or for Peters? That's the one thing I just don't understand. If you're a good coach, the job of a good coach is to take his players and coach what you have. Okay, whatever ingredients you got, cook a meal. Yep. That's what Mac was able to do all those years at Texas. Whatever you gave him, whether it was Colt McCoy, Garrett Gilbert, or whoever you put out there, David Ash, he made a great meal. Jim Harbaugh, as good a coach as he is, he hadn't been able to do that offensively.
Well, let's go back to Wilton Spate. Nobody thought he was any good. And then they win 10 games, and they're in the Orange Bowl with him, and it looked like things were there.
Yeah.
And then O'Korn's coming in. Now you got the young freshman coming along.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, as a coach, you think things are happening and things are in place, and then it just unravels. And it's like you are in that boat, and there's a leak over here, and another one over here, and another one over there. And
no doubt, Coach, but the offense has just kind of looked, I mean, all year long, the red zone offense was slow. I mean, there's no continuity. Where's the creativity? So I understand you're bringing players along. Where is your creativity as an offensive coach? It's important to know what Ohio State did. When Haskins came in, what did they start doing? Running the football, playing to his strengths. You have to play to your player's strengths. Urban has done a better job of that. I don't think Harbaugh's in any trouble whatsoever. Yeah. But you do want to beat your rival at some point.
He's 1-7 against top 10 teams. He's going to hear about that stat for a long time.
He's gonna hear that,
Of course, the future is bright, they feel, with Brandon Peters. But let's move forward here for next week here. And this is the matchup, of course, Ohio State versus Wisconsin. It feels like a play-in game. It looks like it's going to be a play-in game with the chaos that we're maybe approaching here with Alabama losing. Who do you like in a matchup like this when you see these two teams?
I like Ohio State because of speed and quickness.
Yeah.
That's it. And every time you pick against Wisconsin, it's tough because they're going to run it well.
No doubt.
They're going to play action pass. They're going to play great defense, and they've got a great kicking game. And they take on the personality of their head coach. He never changes. They play the same every weekend. If they're ahead, you can't tell it. If they're behind, you can't tell it. Just like today. But they could have been really flat today, and they weren't. They did their job. But I still think too much speed for Ohio State in space.
You know, you guys know how I choose football games.
Yes.
I find a team that has more guys that look like me. All right. Hold on.
Use the word power first.
I find a team that has
big, fast guys.
That has more big, fast, athletic guys, and that's the team I'm going with.
Yeah.
Ohio State has that.
Yeah.
Now, Wisconsin is technically fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
Okay, when you look at Hornibrook, you look at Fumagalli, you look at what they can do with Taylor in the running game. I like all that, but in the end, KF football is about dudes. Give me the team that has more dudes that look like me, that are fast and athletic. I like Ohio State in the game. The last time we saw this matchup, Kev, you know what the score was?
A lot to
It
none.
wasn't pretty.
A lot to a little. It's really simple. It was a lot to a little.
It wasn't pretty.
But give Wisconsin credit. They stay in their lane, and that gives them a chance.
Hey, that lane better expand next Saturday.
That lane, though, features some balance.
That lane.
The defense will be tested in trying to figure out Ohio State's run game.
Agreed.
In space.
All right, now, let's go to the Big 12. We already know Oklahoma is going to take on TCU in their championship game. And meanwhile, Oklahoma playing today at home without Baker Mayfield on senior day to start the game. He was benched, of course, with the shenanigans against Kansas on the sideline. So what do? Kyler Murray, come on down. Yeah, the former Texas A&M quarterback, 66 yards on the first play from scrimmage. Rodney Anderson punches it in. So 2 plays, they score. Second drive, it's Mayfield's turn.
Not really sure how I feel about this. Okay, we're going to suspend that guy for, 2-3 plays? Come on, Lincoln Riley, come on.
CeeDee Lamb and then Mark Andrews. I mean, Oklahoma, this is a game that they can predict any type of scoreboard. And let's, of course, put some context here. Will Greer did not play in this game, of course, breaking a finger the last time we saw him. 59-24, though.
First of all, if Will Greer would have played, it wouldn't have mattered. Let's make sure we state that also. Kev, Will Greer can't play defense.
Well,
they scored 59.
I get that, but the offense would have been
29 to 28.
Exactly. I mean, they can't
the offense would have been in a better
Man.
position, right?
Still would have gotten beat, but it would have scored a few more points, looked a little prettier.
Yeah, no, I don't know how to feel about this Lincoln Riley suspension. I understand you want to keep him out, but for 2 or 3 plays, to me, it's sending a bad message. I understand on the surface it sounds good. We're suspending Baker Mayfield. He's not going to be a captain. But when you actually put it into action, how beneficial? I don't know if it was beneficial.
So it's 2 plays, but isn't the idea maybe the first drive? So if it's maybe an 8-play drive, 10-play drive, like, right? Is that the concept?
He would have probably hoped it would have been a 13-play drive
Right?
and gone into the second
Exactly.
quarter. I probably would have set him for a quarter, but the point is you've got a first-year head coach.
Right.
You've got your guy,
Yeah.
your leader, and what he did was he crushed him publicly by taking him away as a captain
I get it.
and let him walk out there as a starter on senior day.
Yeah.
That was what it was all about. I
It's
don't
the
think
symbolism of it all, right?
It totally was, and he got the young man's he got his attention, but Baker's still going to be Baker. And that's one thing we all wondered about. He still had his passion. He's still all over the place with his antics, and he can do that as long as he keeps it classy.
That'd be like ESPN suspending you for the opening comments. Like, nobody, I don't even know if we miss you for the opening comments, man.
Oh, I'd miss him.
No, I think you'd be crushed.
I deeply
I really
miss
do.
him. I deeply miss him.
And
Because
then-
I'd have to hear about Booger being fast one more
Speed,
time,
hey.
right?
Well,
Speed. This
Athleticism.
kind of guy.
Guys that look like me.
Obviously, we wouldn't have the old Gray Fox's opinion.
Yeah, the Silver Fox.
Silver
Hey,
Fox.
you know what? We've got speed and power here when you're talking about Georgia and their backfield. Nick Chubb going in for the touchdown, the Governor's Trophy, the good old-fashioned hate rivalry. There's a lot of hate going away towards the Bulldogs because they put up a number here, 38-7. Jake Fromm, 12 of 16, 224 and 2 touchdowns. He made it look easy.
Kev, how many total passes was thrown in the entire game?
25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over under, I was going to under 20.
Yes.
Well, for them to win next week, they've got to be balanced.
Yeah.
He's got to
Yeah.
throw the ball. He had 224 yards and 2 touchdown passes today. They're very balanced today. They've got to do that to beat either Auburn or Alabama.
Well, it looks like it's going to be Auburn. I'm just concerned about the mental mindset. Georgia against Auburn, the last time that we saw this matchup, just the mental mindset of Georgia going against this Auburn team.
Nice
and
straight
it's really
win.
interesting when you beat somebody once and you got to play them
Yes,
twice.
yes.
Been there, done that.
Yep, 9 straight win over Tech in Atlanta. SEC title game is next weekend. Of course, Georgia will face the winner of the Iron Bowl. Meanwhile, this used to be a game that had big ramifications in December.
It
Instead,
still does. Let's see who can get bowl eligible. Maybe Florida State.
Florida State still has that sliver of hope, right? Their defense brought it. We're talking about 2 teams that have 8 combined wins, and Felipe Franks a long afternoon here, Mac.
Well, and we're talking about quarterback issues again with both of these teams. And Felipe Franks threw 3 interceptions. They turned the ball over 4 times. You're not going to win a rival game when you turn it over 4 times.
No.
So whoever comes
win.
in at Florida as a new coach has got to get the quarterback position straight and get everybody on track offensively.
5 straight wins in the series for Florida State. You talk about bowl eligibility. Knowles play UL Monroe next week, a rescheduled game. Chance to be bowl eligible as they have 5 wins. And you brought up coaching here in Florida, and Florida losing out the sweepstakes for Chip Kelly. He decides to go to UCLA. Scott Frost, his representatives, expected to meet with the Gators here. And Brett Bielema fired last night by Arkansas after a 48-45 loss. And of course, Mike Riley fired earlier this morning by Nebraska. Chip Kelly, our colleague, or former colleague now, going to UCLA. When you talk about fit, going back to the Pac-12 after 4 years at the NFL, what are your thoughts here with his position at UCLA?
But number one, the fit is about where you can recruit.
Yep.
He's recruited L.A. He's recruited the West Coast. He's recruited that league. He hadn't been in the Southeastern Conference, and may I say recruiting's different down there.
Yeah, it is.
I've been down there. So it's really different to go from outside to that part of the country. So I think that part really fits. The part that'll be different for Chip, he didn't have as much publicity, people around him, people scrutiny at Oregon as he's going to have in L.A. It's going to be more like his NFL stuff.
You know, Chip wanted Oregon with lesser players than he can get at UCLA.
Yeah.
I think he can get 5-star players. I think the facilities may not be what Phil Knight has at Oregon, but they're going to be pretty good. The key for Chip is going to be, in my opinion, why he chose UCLA is comfort. Okay, there's a difference in going into your season realizing that you're the Don of the Pac-12 coaches. It's Chip Kelly, it's David Shaw, it's pretty much everybody else. You come in the SEC, it's Nick Saban, and then it's everybody else. And so I think Chip probably felt more comfortable, not only with recruiting, but also understanding who he has to go against week in.